The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Autism with Shannon and Nancy on Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod and my good friend Nancy Osbaugh Jackson has taken some time off. So it's me, I'm flying solo but with some great guests today, so I'm sure we're gonna have a good time. Got a lot to cover today, so let's start by saying that this entire show is meant to be interactive. We hope that you will participate, so Traven is gonna show you some of the different ways that you can interact with us. Please know that look at the list and decide what works best for you, but one way that you can connect with us is at our homepage, which is autism-live.com. When you go there, lots to do. Don't forget to look at the toy guide because it is active and live at the top of the page. It says toy guide. You click on it and it shows you the 2019 Autism Live toy and gift giving guide, and it's sectioned into different developmental age ranges, but then within that there are different award winners for different categories. And if you see a toy that you like and you're like, I want to purchase it, all you have to do is hover your mouse over the name of the toy, click it, and it will take you directly to a place where you can purchase it. Please know that we make no money on that whatsoever. That is not what this is about. It's about recommending good quality gifts and toys, and you guys asked, could you please make me not have to Google it, Shannon? So that's why you have that. All right. But you can also be chatting with us and asking questions of our wonderful guests. At the bottom of the page on that autism-live.com is a button that says chat. If you click on the chat, it opens up and you can type and hit enter and it shows up here on my screen, which is a really fabulous thing. So we hope that you will participate in that way. Now on Wednesday, when we do Let's Talk Autism, we like to start with in the news. So a couple of quick stories for you, some good, some not so good. Let's start with a good one, right? Let's do the good news first. So I'm sure you saw this in the news. Kaylin Bennett has become the first student athlete with autism to sign a national letter of intent to play a team sport at the NCAA Division I level. Apparently that means basketball, they tell me, I don't know. He recently made his debut for Kent State University on their men's basketball team in their season opening game on Wednesday. They won, let's start there, and he entered the game with 6 minutes left to play. He finished with 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 block. He scored his first collegiate points on a hook shot with less than 3 minutes left to play. Kaylin, way to go. We're very excited for you and thrilled that this brilliant young man has said that he wants kids to, he wants to help them to believe in themselves. And first and foremost, he's trying to set an example showing that if he can do it, that they can do it. We love heroes like this. So Kaylin, we're keeping an eye on you and hoping for all the best for you. Because in other places in the world, we have things going on not so good. How about this? The bus driver from the Alpine School District who recently struck a blind student with autism. So hear this. He's been driving bus for the Alpine School District for 4 years. So you would think that, you know, he'd have gained a little experience and insight insight into just the world, right? But he was recently asked to start transporting children with disabilities. And I guess the school district felt that, you know, if you've been driving a bus for 4 years, then clearly you must be able to drive a bus with kids with disability. We don't need to give you extra training, do we? In the very first week, he ended up hitting and wrestling with an autistic student who was nonverbal and blind. I'm not going to say the name of the bus driver because I'm not participating in that, but really, sir, really. And really, school district, really. This is not the first time that things have happened in this school district. There is a lawyer now, as there should be. And he is saying that the driver not only hurt the child, but aides paid by the school district to care for the child made mistakes that also led to violence. He claims that the employees did not follow the child's IEP plan, and that on multiple occasions they either ignored the IEP or never read it. So we'll see what happens in this case, but honestly, I don't know why some school districts still think that the only person, well, look, we've managed to get them to think that they need to train the teachers, right? That's the newest thing. Teachers need to be able to be trained to have individuals who have different needs in the classroom. This is apparently news, but you know, they're doing that. And then we've been working on getting them to properly train the aides, right? But we need to train everybody who interacts with the child. The school bus driver, at the top of the list. My goodness, listen, my mother drove school bus for a living, and that's a tough job. Let's be honest about that. That's a tough job. You have the lives of some pretty important people in your control, and you're driving a bus, and you need to have behaviors under control in order to keep your eyes on the road. So if you don't know how to control behavior for kids who have disabilities and have special needs, you're going to have a rough time, right? That is not an excuse for ever hitting a child or wrestling with a child. Don't get me started. Okay, but how about this? The UK Minister of Health, his name is Matt Hancock, this week gave a verbal apology to a young woman who's 18 years old. She's being called Bethany to preserve her anonymity. She is on the autism spectrum, and for the last 3 years, she has been locked away in tiny rooms of psychiatric hospitals across Britain with almost no human interaction. They're calling it the same as solitary confinement, what has happened to her. And I must say that this is horrible, horrifying, but they're calling it out now and trying to address it. And I appreciate that Matt Hancock publicly apologized to her on Saturday and said for the things that have gone wrong in her care that he was apologizing. He called her case incredibly difficult and complex. Yeah, when you get locked away in a room, that's pretty complex. He said that she is set to be moved to a more appropriate setting before Christmas. Really? It's going to take you that long? I would say maybe you need to cancel your plans and get a little bit more on that, Matt. Or maybe you could hang out in solitary confinement for a whole other month. Let's see how that works for you. I'm losing my patience with these people, right? There are those that within Parliament who have said that there's a committee says it's absolutely dire that they have lost confidence in the system and its regulators. The Joint Committee of Human Rights said in a report released this month, the brutal truth is that we are failing to protect some of the most vulnerable young people. Indeed, we are inflicting terrible suffering on those detained in mental health hospitals and causing anguish to their distraught families. And one of the witnesses to this, there have been bruises, broken limbs, long stretches of total isolation, and hours without treatment for physical injuries. As of July, more than 2,000 people with severe learning difficulties or autism were being held in institutions, including 680 people ages 0 to 24. And one of the witnesses says it feels like some sort of a nightmare. And describing one of these places, he says it was not a safe place. It was not a treatment room. I got no assessment or treatment done. There was no care. All right. It's shameful. It's shameful. And so to the people in Parliament who are calling it out, let's call it out, but let's get something done. And let's not wait till Christmas. This should be on everybody's conscience. All right. Sorry to leave it on a sour note, but you know what? We're going to come back in a second, and we're going to lighten it up, because with us here in the studio, we have got two comedians who are going to make it rock for us. Actually, we have Keith Reza, who's going to be joining us via Skype, and then in the studio we have Aida Rodriguez. They're both hilarious. They're both performing this Saturday at the Fullerton Cares Comedy Show for Autism. It's gonna be fabulous. If you're in the area, you've got to go. I don't even know that there are tickets left, but you should try. But come back. Let's laugh a little, shall we? Stick with us.
Hey, I'm Candace Cameron Bray.
Tom Bergeron.
You're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
You're watching Autism Live.
Do you provide care services to someone with autism? Recently, more and more children are being diagnosed with the condition and getting the support they need as awareness grows. But what happens to these children as they grow up? It's estimated that over 500,000 youth with autism will turn 18 in the next decade, and they'll be faced with a very difficult reality. As children with autism grow up, their services start to disappear or become very difficult to access. Things like medical care, mental health counseling, vocational training, and more. All services that are still desperately needed. The loss of support that youth with autism face as they grow up is so severe that it's referred to in the autism community as falling off a cliff. Adults with autism need the same level of support they had as children to avoid falling off the services cliff. Introducing Skills Living, the web-based software designed specifically to help transitioning youth and adults with autism so they can avoid the cliff and instead fly to success. With Skills Living, help your learner with autism develop the skills they need in all the critical areas of adult life, including self-control, planning, and problem-solving, effective communication, performing life skill tasks for independent living, acquiring and maintaining employment or other meaningful activities, developing and maintaining social skills and relationships, accessing transportation and public services, and being safe. Skills Living includes a comprehensive assessment, a data collection mobile app, behavior intervention plan builder, and automatic progress reporting. It also provides a complete curriculum addressing 16 key areas spanning the entire range of functioning adulthood. Skills Living is easy to use and can be implemented by schools, parents, and autism service providers. Call or click today for your free demo and see how Skills Living can help your learner with autism avoid the cliff and instead reach their fullest potential. Skills Living. Wish, learn, become.
Back to Autism Live. Hi, Keith. So we've got a studio full of people, and we've got Keith Reza joining us via Skype. For those of you who don't know, Keith obviously is hilarious. He's a stand-up comedian. He identifies himself as being on the autism spectrum, and his favorite ice cream is pink berry yogurt. I guess that's not really ice cream; that's yogurt. But
yeah, that's a frozen yogurt place.
Yes. What am I saying? He has been one of the top 50 funniest in the OC for 6 years in a row. He's going to be hosting this week on Saturday the Fullerton Cares comedy show for autism. Joining us in the studio, we have Robin Yates Martinez, who has been instrumental in making this event happen for many years now. We're going to be talking with her. She's an amazing mom, identifies as a self-advocate. I have known her for many years and think that she's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. So she's got a lot that she's going to add. And then, as if we didn't have enough going on, we have Aida Rodriguez, who's with us. She is a hilarious stand-up comedian. You've seen her on comedy specials on HBO and Showtime, and if you haven't seen her on Tiffany Haddish's They Ready on Netflix, you should, when we're done here, go immediately and watch that, and then you'll be like, oh my God, they had her on Autism Live, right? So do that anyway, because she's wonderful. And you're going to be performing at the comedy show for autism as well on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start first by talking how this all came to be, who knew who when, and like, you know, we're not doing the presidential hearings, but instead we'll find out who knew what when for who of the three of you, okay?
You're funny too.
So Keith is our common link. And I was looking for someone awesome to feature with Jay Moore and George Perez, and he said he knew you, and I got super, super excited because, you know, I'm a huge comedy fan. That's what I do with my time. So my disposable time, not that I have a lot, but, you know. And so when he told me he knew you and that you would be willing to talk to me about it, I was just, the rest is history.
Well, that's awesome. And it looks like Keith is sprouting out of your head at this moment. There we go. So Keith, tell us how you met Ida.
I met Ida through stand-up. I just want to be clear. I'm like not sick. I'm like, my dog's sleeping on me.
Okay. So we've got a great angle. Dog is sleeping on him, ladies. They don't get to hear what he's saying. So dog's sleeping on Keith. That's why he's in the position that he's in. I thought you look like you're in a clinic and a hospital bed. But
No. I have a beagle and he hurt his leg and he's like lying on my leg.
All right. Hurt beagle gets priority. So very nice of you to give that to and say.
It just looks weird that like on Skype. I'm
it's
sorry.
all right. No, it's all good. So how did you meet Ida?
I met Ida through stand-up, and you know, I've known her for about 6 or 7 years, and I'm very close with her. You know, I think of her as my comedy mom, and I love her very much.
Are you comfortable with being called his
I
comedy
just asked
mom?
her to do the show. Okay. She said, yeah.
Wonderful. And so for you, Ida, like what was like the first time you met Keith?
Oh, you know what? It was watching a comedian do really well, because that's what he was doing. He was killing it. And we had a conversation, and he shared with me that he was, you know, on the spectrum. And my manager at the time, who I actually introduced to Keith for representation, has a son who's also has 2 children who are on the spectrum. And we just started talking because, you know, being a Latin, you know, diseases and illnesses and issues get stigmatized. Like I suffer from a self-destructive eating disorder, and you think only white people when you think, but I grew up with my mom's best friend's son who was autistic, and they didn't know what was going on. Like it was such a big deal to them. Because they didn't have resources, they didn't have information, they didn't have understanding. So meeting Keith and understanding the stigma that comes with being on the spectrum, and he's high performing in the comedy realm, making people laugh, even if he's uncomfortable. I just naturally just gravitated towards him because he's a beautiful human being, and
he's sure.
I wanted to be in his orbit. Like he calls me comedy mom because I immediately went into a protection mode, and like anybody mess with him, you know, like I was like not him.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, I absolutely love that. So you guys are all coming together on Saturday for this wonderful event, the Fullerton Cares Comedy Show for Autism. Let's talk about some particulars. What time is it happening, Robin? And
so the show is starting at 7, but doors open at 6, and you guys are definitely going to want to be there when the doors open. We have a lot of fun stuff planned, really cool silent auction, raffle, amazing food, of course, because it's Larry Hauser's event, so the food is going to be amazing, a lot of yummy drinks, and just every cent of the proceeds from this goes directly into Fullerton Cares, which goes directly into programs for kids with autism in our community. So it's very grassroots and just an exciting thing to be a part of.
And you know this firsthand because you have 2 kids that have participated in things with Fullerton Cares, that this makes a big difference for the families in Fullerton, does it not?
It makes a huge difference for the families in Fullerton. I mean, now that this is ongoing, you know, our Mardi Gras for Autism is having its 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And so I have families that we have deep bonds with, you know, that are like family friends because Fullerton Cares connected us and connected the community. So that's what I love about Fullerton is it's very, just very conducive to that family vibe of, you know, we all stick together, we all protect each other, we're all very protective of each other's kids.
Yeah.
In my role as a community outreach director, doing our extracurricular programs, it's been really awesome for me to get close to everyone's kids. and be able to work with a lot of my friends' kids.
So that's the good part of where the money goes from this event, but then back to the event, starts at 7, the comedy starts at 7, but doors open at 6, and we've been telling people you should go immediately when you can go, like 4 o'clock, go have dinner, there's live bands and things, and have your adult beverage, because this is an adult event. Right? I mean, are you working clean on this night, Ida?
No. I haven't been asked to.
I certainly hope not.
Let me assure you, they don't want you to work clean.
No.
Because I've been to this event. Keith, are you planning on working clean that night?
I'm actually pretty clean comic. I mean,
I was just gonna say, I've seen you before, and you are a pretty clean comic, but there will be some adult thing.
He has his days.
Yeah, we're F-word
Oh,
friendly
really?
at this event.
Right.
for
So
sure.
this is an adult event with adult beverages, an adult comedy. So people should plan on getting a babysitter and doing that. But
Yes.
Keith, this time you're the host. Talk about that for a second. What was it like being asked to do that?
It was, at first it was very surprising because, I usually just do a set or whatever, and then when they asked me to host, I was like, yeah, that'll be fun, So I'm a little nervous about that because I haven't hosted in so long. So like I've been trying to do some hosting spots the past couple of weeks, and so I could prepare.
And hosting, I can understand why it's a little intimidating. It's a big night with a lot of comedians, and the hosting gig is a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know. I want to say, I don't know. It's kind of like hosting the Oscars to me because it's like.
It is like hosting the Oscars. You're right.
Yeah, because you got to get everyone in the mood and, you got to get them to like prepare to watch all the other funny comics. And that hosting is just something that I haven't done in a long time. So I'm kind of nervous, so.
But I think you're going to be brilliant. I think nervous is par for the core, right? But I think you're going to be brilliant, and I think you're the perfect person to do it. Your comedy is so particular and smart, and I want to say smart and intelligent, but they're both the same thing. But it's funny and it's intelligent at the same time. So Ida, do you know where you are in the lineup for this?
I don't.
I thought you said you wanted to go first.
Oh, yeah, I
my
am going
God.
first.
Yeah.
You're going
Well,
first.
So get there
You're gonna
early.
set the pace.
So I fly in on Saturday.
Okay.
So
Where are you going in the meantime? You're here now. Where are
I
you
fly to New York tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to tape the Stephen Colbert show on Friday. Oh, wow.
Shut
I'm
up.
going to do stand-up, yeah. And then I come back Saturday morning, and then I'm going to do the show. And so I have another show after this show because I lost my grandmother to cancer in 2013, so I appreciate that. So I have to have, before the end of the year, I have to do so many things to raise money or to participate in like community service. It helps me with dealing with her. And so I have another show I'm doing right after. And then I'm going to sleep because I haven't slept in like 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
I just came from New York on Monday. So it's been constant. So I'm going to try to get some rest because Monday I get back to work.
Okay, but so Keith is going to open this up, and then you're going to be the first comic up, and then I know there are a bunch of other comics that are going to be there.
Well, George Perez.
Yes.
He's gonna go, and then Jay Moore.
And then Jay Moore.
It's gonna be awesome.
And they saw Jay yesterday on the show, and Jay is hilarious and truly an amazing. So this is an all-star night. This is an all-star
absolutely.
lineup. You're going to get way more than your money's worth, and you're going to know that you're helping kiddos on the autism spectrum. And when should we watch you on Colbert?
We haven't gotten an air date yet. We tape on because they don't tape on the same. They don't air on the same day. The comedy.
Okay.
So I will let you guys know.
We will look forward to that. And Keith, are you like when you hear her say things like Colbert? Are you just chartreuse with envy, or just supportive of her that's how she's working?
He supports me.
I'm sorry. What was the question?
The question was, are you envious when you hear Ida say that she's doing the Colbert show? Is this something you aspire to? Are you just supportive, or are you envious, or both?
She told me about that, but did she say that on the?
Yes, I forgot that you weren't hearing what she said. She's going to be going and doing the Colbert show before she comes to the. That's what she was saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that's great.
I forgot.
I'm
to
sorry.
translate. No, my bad.
I just say so.
No.
I'm just like.
And I was the one who was supposed to tell you, and I forgot. I've been trying to tell them what you're saying, but not telling you. My bad. Bad host. This is why I'm not Colbert.
He's
Yeah,
always really supportive.
Ida does all these amazing shows, so that's that's how special she is, and her schedule's so busy. Like sometimes she doesn't know she has like 4 shows in a day, and she still does them all.
He's saying sometimes you have 4 shows in a day, and
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
do them all. But do you aspire to be doing the kinds of things that she's doing, Keith?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be just like Ida.
Of course. Well, just like Ida, but the male version.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goes without saying. So anything in particular for this night? Like obviously it's a comedy event for autism, but it's not particularly about autism. Is there anything that the audience, anything in particular that you want to tell the audience that you're going to be talking about? Not asking you to do stand up right now.
Oh, I appreciate
But
that.
anything? Yes. No. It's
I
early
talk
in the
about
day.
family stuff. I like to focus on a lot of family stuff. The things that all people have in common, regardless of what the dynamic of the family is, we all have certain things in common and I like to focus on those things because then, you don't have people in the audience saying, what?
Yeah.
We all have, so many things in common.
So Keith, Ida's saying that she likes to talk about, family things and those things that everybody can relate to. You've got a very unique perspective for your comedy. Where are you coming from?
I basically just talk about what it's like having autism, and I talk about presidents and adult videos and stuff like that.
Autism, presidents, and adult videos. That's a really interesting thing you got going on there. I want to see your little set list paper that says that. We probably need to frame that. That's funny in and of itself, Keith. So what are you most looking forward to on Saturday?
Just hanging out with Ida and Jay and meeting, other individuals with autism, and I really enjoy doing this fundraiser every year because I feel like no matter what I say, it's always going to work, and it's just nice doing comedy with individuals who understand me and get me.
Yeah, it's wonderful. He was saying he's looking forward to hanging out with you guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that no matter what he says, he feels like, this audience gets him, and that's the truth. What are you looking forward to on Saturday, Ida?
Watching Keith shine,
Yeah.
it makes me happy to see him work. I went to Huntington Beach to support him on another show that he did. I think that he advocates in a way that is more relatable. Comedy is a way to reach a lot of people, and through his comedy, he's able to give a message that you don't hear and that people need to hear. And he also gives a voice to people who deserve to have a voice. And so when I see him do stand-up, I like to support him in any way that I can because it's just important. I think it's and he's funny.
He is funny. He's hilarious. But I appreciate you saying that too often it can be a cutthroat business, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to climb the ladder in their own way and get what they want. And I've seen that Jay is a wonderful mentor. Mm-hmm. And I've been hearing that you are a wonderful mentor, that he's calling you his comedy mom. That's high praise.
And I love his mom. Yeah.
What a wonderful, wonderful thing. And how nice of you to do that. It's hard enough for women in this industry. That you have the time to mentor is a really wonderful thing.
Well, we got to make time, here's a young man who's struggling with the reality of what his life is, who's very open and shares it. He's very, very transparent, sometimes a little too much on Facebook, which I'm always rearing him.
Keith, what's that about? They're saying that sometimes you're very transparent on Facebook, maybe a little too much. Is that true?
Yeah, I can be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll call him and I'll say, hey, take that down.
Oh, okay.
Let's deal with it like this. But, I just think it's you got to make time. And I think a lot of us pride ourselves in being busy or whatever. Some people want to call themselves famous. At the end of the day, none of us are exempt from the realities of life. Steve Jobs was rich, successful, and cancer took him from us, right? So we just got to remember that we're still just human beings, and we have to make time for each other. Like, I don't know, it's important to me because that kid's well-being matters to me, so.
Well, thank you for that, right? Isn't that a powerful thing for all of us to hear? What a wonderful, wonderful thing. Robin, what are you looking forward to on Saturday?
I'm looking forward to Ida. I'm a huge, huge fan. So I spend these events just trying not to fangirl too hard on anyone.
Right.
But I just love you. I love Ida's work. You're a working class hero.
I appreciate
That's who you are to me, you know, because you are so real. You've been through stuff. I think I was telling you when we started this, like, regardless of socioeconomic status, culture, race, anything like that, primarily the building is made up of autism parents. And they've all been through something really, really serious. And we share that common bond of, you know, having had that with our kids that unites us no matter what. And so I just think that you're a really, really good example for women. You know, the way you just spoke about, you know, that we have to make time for people and understanding that. And I'm really, really looking forward to see Keith too. I think he is going to do amazing.
Yeah.
Who better to host the show? And I think he's going to do fabulous because, again, for that particular crowd, yes, he's funny, yes, he's entertaining, cute as a button, all of it. But he is giving that audience hope.
Yeah.
There are people in that audience that are going to sleep better because he can talk.
He's a great example.
You know what I mean? He is a great example for what Dr. Doreen talks about all the time, which is you can get to a point of recovery with autism. You can work on things and work on yourself. And he's giving everyone hope on top of making everyone laugh. Everyone's going to sleep a little better that night.
I love what Howie Mandel says. You know, he goes, why are we talking about disability? Let's talk about this ability. And Keith is very able. And Keith, I want to say to you, I haven't had a chance to say this to you, but last year I was at the comedy show and my son was there. We are not advocating that anybody bring their teenage son, but my teenage son was there. And he saw you perform, and afterwards he said, you know, Mom, I don't know, maybe I want to be a stand-up comedian, so look what you did. I'll send you a bill for that, because he was going to be an engineer before, Keith. Thank you. See what you're doing.
That's very
yes.
I love it when they hear stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're paving the way for so many behind you. Well, I want to remind people, if you haven't already seen Ida on the Netflix, the Tiffany Haddish show, They Ready. First of all, you should be watching that anyway, because it's a hilarious, you know, but you should go and do that now, because we're about to end here. So make sure that you do that. But you also want to come to Fullerton Cares. It's in the ballroom upstairs.
Yes, it's in downtown Fullerton in the classic Fullerton ballroom. And it's right by Bourbon Street in the Bowery, right there in downtown Fullerton. Really, really fun place, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So much fun. It's really fun every year. Last year was great, and so there are tickets still available.
There are, okay.
There are. So, and I'd like to say this: if you're not in the area or you can't make it,
buy a ticket.
Buy a ticket anyways. Find someone who's not just impacted by autism. Find a single mom like Theo Vaughn does. Find a single mom, babysit her kids for her, and give her the tickets so that she can go. Something like, you know, in other words, you know, use those tickets to make someone else smile if you can't make it yourself.
There you go. A wonderful, wonderful event. You will laugh until
your face will hurt.
And, you know, things will come out. We don't want to go there, right? But anyway, wonderful, wonderful evening. Keith, I'm going to wish you to have the most fun ever, because I think you're going to be a brilliant host.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, and fabulous. Good luck to you flying all over the places you have to get to. And thank you for being such a wonderful, mensch is not the right word. I don't know what the female equivalent is, but thank you for being that wonderful presence.
Well, I do it for my bubby.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is.
Well, you're representing for her, and that's a wonderful thing.
Thank you.
All right, we have to go and take a break, and we'll be back with our next guest. We're going to talk about an amazing toy on our toy guide, so don't go anywhere unless you're going to watch Netflix right now.
Yes.
Go watch They Ready, because you will laugh, laugh, laugh.
And look up the Young Turks.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you on the Young Turks too? Well, you
Yeah.
left that out.
I know.
All right, so on the Young Turks.
I had to.
Amazing.
I had to.
Yes, all right. So we're going to be back with toy reviews after this. Stick with us. Parent to parent, having a compliant child is one of the greatest things on earth. But frequently we ask ourselves, why doesn't my child listen? Well, here are some tips to help us to get a listening, happy, compliant child. First, we want to make sure that we make compliance worthwhile. Whenever your child does something that's compliant, make sure that you praise them and heap rewards on them that are meaningful to them, things they really want. One of the things that we have to be mindful of is that if the child isn't compliant, we have to praise more often. Just heap it on. If you say to yourself, there's nothing to praise, they're not doing anything that I want them to do, then ask them to do something that they already want to do. This is a really tricky way of being able to praise them. And then, of course, the last thing that we want to do is catch them doing good things when they least suspect it. And make sure you heap that praise on, because having a compliant child is one of the best things in life. Token economies are a great way to get to good behavior with your child.
Hi guys, welcome back to Smarty. For November, we're going to be working on memory with our kids, and what better way than doing a scavenger hunt. The materials you'll be needing for this activity are a camera, cardstock, scissors, glue, and whatever objects you want your child to be hunting for. Step 1, you're the hunter. Find all the objects you want your child looking for and take photos of them. Now that you've collected all the objects you want your kids hunting for later, print out the images and then cut them out and glue them on a cardstock just so they're organized and isolated. Now that the scavenger hunt template is done, put all the objects back where they belong. Remember, we're working on memory, so put them in places that your kids would normally find them. You want them to be successful. We'll make this one really easy to find. Well, I hope you enjoyed this activity with your kids. Remember, the scavenger hunt is supposed to be a fun way to work on memory. Well, until next time, craft on, guys.
Can you see me flying by your side? You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Hi there, I'm Lisa Ackerman. Welcome to the show. So the goal of today, we're going to make meatballs. Let's get started. So again, I'm going to take roughly a pound of my ground organic turkey, and I'm going to add in the secret vegetable. So if your kid doesn't like vegetables, don't cook in front of them, okay? Have them watch a movie or something. But you definitely want to make sure they're not watching, because then they won't eat it. So, and here we go with the egg. And our breadcrumbs. I'm just adding salt and pepper to taste. If you think about kids' shapes and sizes, you want to think small shapes, small hands. So your oven should be preheating at about 400 degrees. We're going to kick into the oven here and look at our meatballs. I did flip them halfway through the 20-odd minute. So we'll put, just like Julia Child's, there's our finished product right there. These are good. Cooking is easy. You don't have to be afraid of it. But we want to hear from you. If you can let us know what recipes are important to you, maybe convert a recipe from a traditional flour or gluten-based to a gluten-free or an allergy-free, we're here to help. So you get to us. You can email us at autismlive@gmail.com. You can reach out on Facebook at facebook.com/autismlive, or reach out at Taka Now. So I know you're having a great day. I had a lot of fun cooking with you in the kitchen, but I'll tell you before we end, I gotta have more meatballs. Have a great day.
You say howdy, we say hi. Let's get rowdy, let's get wild. Let's get wild.
Hello, fellow activists. Last week, I introduced you to step 5 of the 10 steps to empowerment, shore up spiritually. Let's talk more about finding ways to do that. How to find out what lifts your spirit, feeds your soul, and make it a practice. That practice is different things for different people. It could be the practice of meditation, of prayer, of community worship, or serving others. But it's the practice that will give you hope and faith and strength for the journey ahead, for the marathon journey of raising a child with autism. I get inspired every day by the families of children with autism that I come into contact with, like the parents of the nonverbal child who have not given up hope that that child will speak one day, or the grandparents who should be enjoying their retirement but instead are joyfully raising their adult grandchild with autism, or the mother who is fighting for services for her daughter while her Marine husband is fighting a battle to keep our country safe. They all inspire me. My grandmother, Diddy, who is an angel who still guides me every day, had this quote inscribed in her Bible. I sought my soul, but my soul I could not see. I sought my God, but my God eluded me. I sought my brother, and I found all three. I think I'm finally starting to grasp the meaning of that. So feed your soul, lift your spirit, and until next time, keep the faith.
Parent to parent, you might be asking yourself sometimes, why does my child have meltdowns? Well, the difference between tantrums and meltdowns, they're a part of typical development, but meltdowns are when things get a little bit more out of control, when even the child isn't sure what's entirely wrong. Generally with a meltdown, there's an environmental component. There's something else going on outside the child that's making the tantrum worse. It's really important that we start to be detectives and take notes and look around at the environment and start to figure out what are the things that happen every time your child has a meltdown. And lastly, it's important to get help. You really can't face these kinds of things effectively completely on your own. Tantrums, they're a part of typical development, but don't accept meltdowns as something that just happens. Make sure you get help and support. You might be asking yourself if your child has autism. Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm here with Stephan Brissaud. I'm somewhere in the neighborhood. And he is joining us. I should have asked how to pronounce the name of the company. What is the name of the company?
Iello, like the color.
Iello, like the color. I've been saying it Iello. So Iello, like the color games. And the reason why we have him here is because of this game right here, King of Tokyo, Richard Garfield, King of Tokyo. And this was our winner in this year's toy guide for the Tween Teen Best Game Award. And this was chosen for very specific reasons because a lot of our tweens and teens got very excited about the opportunity to play this game, but also then the gameplay that we saw, we thought was amazing. Last year we featured a game that was for people a little bit older, but that it had a lot of the same components in terms of being, you know, the social component, solving issues, looking at problems from different areas, but this social sort of a creative gameplay. But this was a little bit more age appropriate for our tweens and teens, and we got very excited about that because they need a safe place to work on the social things with friends. And play is a way in which you can do that. And if you fail, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
Right? So we thought that this was really amazing and wonderful. But tell us a little bit about the company and about the game, because there's so much more to this game, including the artwork that we want to know about.
All right. Well, thank you, Shannon. So we are Iello. We are a French company. I run the US office, and King of Tokyo is our bestseller. We published the game in 2011, and it has been translated in, I think, 36 languages right now. So
Wow.
it's very popular. The reason of the popularity of the game, besides, as you pointed out, the very cool artworks and flashy drawings and all this is, we are giant kaiju monster, and we are fighting for the control of the city of Tokyo.
Okay.
And so the players have those little card monsters. So this is Alienoid. It's actually Richard Garfield's favorite one, and it's yellow also, so we love it. It's my favorite monster. And we have the silhouette also that represents. So this is your scorecard where you're gonna keep track of your victory point up here. You can, if you get to 20 points, you're gonna win the game, but you also keep track of your life points here. You start with 10 life, and if you get to 0 life, you lose the game. The game mechanic is we roll those big chunky dice. They're very noisy, sorry for post-prod.
That's okay. And they look black on air. I just want to say, because we shoot on a green screen, and so the colors are green, and so they look totally black, but there's actually some really cool green colors
there you go.
that aren't showing up.
Yeah,
but
it's neon green. The number are neon green. And so depending on what you roll, you might roll numbers 1, 2, or 3. If you get 3 of the same number, for example, if you get 3 2s, that's 2 points, and you add those victory points to your victory card. If you get punch, you can deal damage to the other monster, and then you reduce their life point from that many punch. And then you have another symbol, which is a lightning bolt. And for each lightning bolt that you have, you get the currency in the game, and you can buy special effect cards that are changing the monster special abilities and things like that. So that's pretty much the mechanic in a sense. Every time we demo the game, we play the game, people love it. It's a very wide range of people who appreciate it, like as you mentioned it, teen and tweens, but also adult. It's a very accessible product, but it's fun. You are just rolling those big chunky dice and trying to kick each other out of Tokyo. It's very fun, very lighthearted. There is an aspect of randomness because you are rolling dice, but there is also some strategic aspect, Are you going to stay in Tokyo longer, but then you are more vulnerable, or do you want to get out of Tokyo to heal and then come back for another round? It works very well. We have made expansions, and we have special monsters. And so that, as I said earlier, it's one of our bestsellers in our line, and we are thrilled when autism-live told us that we won the prize. It's meant a lot to us.
Well, that's so nice to hear, because we were very, very excited about it. I will say it's beautiful, beautiful graphics, and so many of you write in on a regular basis and you say how concerned you are about your teens and your tweens spending all their time on screens, right? And that even, now they're playing a game online with a friend who's halfway across the world, right?
Yes.
And we call them a friend, but it's not the kind of interaction that we really need to be fostering in our teens and tweens that are on the autism spectrum. It's got its place, but they need to be doing things face to face, because let's face it, we want to get these kids, they're in the pre-employment phase. We want to have them ready to work, group projects and things like that. And I don't want to put too fine a point on this, but how they're playing and interacting is going to inform that. When they're in high school and they're having to work on a group project, I know my son has to do that a lot. They have to work with other people, and there are a lot of the elements that are involved in this in doing a project-based learning program. So this gets them off the screen. What a wonderful thing to have them playing and interacting. And I love that, these counters that they've got. It's very low tech, but it's what I grew up with, right? And there is this resurgence now of getting our kids back to this kind of a thing, because they're having to use their imaginations and they're having to communicate with each other. Any of you watched the hit show Stranger Things? And the whole premise of the show is that it takes place in the 80s, and the kids are sitting around and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But now there's been a big resurgence of parents going, hey, my kiddo missed that phase of gameplay. Well, this is a great thing to do. Hot game, hot graphics, and get this, invite, a couple of friends over to play this with your child, play it with them, and you will see, we saw conversations and interactions happening when the kids were playing this that we got very excited about.
For sure.
That there's an element where they can argue with each other about, no, you should do this and you should do that, but it's acceptable in this format because it's gameplay.
Yes.
If they were doing that during the project for high school, right, it's not the place for them to be working that out. Better to do that here. So I think it's remarkable.
Another very interesting aspect of the game in that sense of social skill and whatnot, it's a game lasts between 20 and 30 minutes, so it's pretty quick. So one of the unfortunate aspects of playing a game is that sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And it can be sometimes difficult for people to deal with failure in the game. But because it's only 20, 30 minutes, you go again and you go down another round, and whoever lost last game might win the next game or try new strategies. And so it's really make this interaction and dealing with obstacle or deception easier to cope with.
And I gotta say too, thank you for bringing that up, because that was one of the other things that we really loved about it, was that it was 30 minutes, because we're not talking about it being, some of those games last a weekend or 7 days or whatever, and some of our kids can't hang that long, but our kids can hang 30 minutes while they're playing with their friends, and maybe you want to start this at a therapy session and have them learn the rules of the game so that they know. Although for some of our kids, they're going to know better than we know. This is the thing, right? They'll go, oh, no, I get this completely, because they're already programmed for this kind of thing.
One other thing I'm thinking about is one of the special features of this game is because the interaction between the player is so fun, even when you're out of the game, when your monster has been eliminated, I have watched hundreds of sessions of game, thousands, and people stick around. They want to see who is going to win. They're gonna, even if you're not involved in the game itself anymore, you can watch. Like, we run demos at shows, and people are standing in the alley just watching the interaction because it's fun. Like, you hear people, like in the casino when you play craps, you hear the roll of the dice, and people go, "Whoa, you got 6 threes," and everything. So again, it's the kids will stay engaged with the product, even if they are not involved in the game anymore, or if not at all.
Well, we were really excited. We think it's the perfect game to give to teens and tweens on the spectrum. But the truth, as you said, this is a great gift for adults as well.
Yes.
So, where whatever range you gave it the rating of 8+, but it's 8+ to up to 108.
Yes,
right?
Oh, for sure.
So, where can they get it?
So it's available in all with what we call friendly local game store. So if you go to iellousa.com and where to buy or our store locator, you'll find a list of all our retailer. You can find it online also. There are, the base version is King of Tokyo. We have also King of New York, which is more involved, and kind of new news that just been released 2 weeks ago. We are working on a King of Tokyo Dark Edition, which is all very somber, or like Batman kind of look. It's coming out in April.
Okay, we got insider information there, you guys. Did you catch that? So, truly wonderful gift for a teen or tween that on the spectrum. And we should say this is not just for boys. Girls love this too. And there's a lot of gameplay that's like this. One of the things that I learned when my son became a teenager was that they have to have a peer group that gets them.
Yeah.
They have to. It's what makes your kids bully proof. What makes them be happier. We see that there's less depression if they have a peer group that understands and appreciates them, and that they bring value to that group. And so I check with your school to see if there is a gaming club that your child can belong to, because these are the kinds of things that they do in the gaming club, or there are groups that will get together just to play these particular games. And there are locations. I know where we used to live, there was a place that had game night, a comic book store that had game night.
There are more and more of that,
right?
yeah.
And they play these kinds of games and different age ranges, even adults, and that is their social group. That, you know, you've watched The Big Bang Theory and you see these wonderful people who are getting along so well and they have a support group, and you've thought to yourself, how do I get that for my child? This is a great way to do that. Yes. Is have them know how to play these kinds of games and do that with friends and become a part of those groups. So I also want to tell you that because it is available through our toy guide, what we did in the past, parents have said to us, if I want to buy the toy, I don't want to leave the toy guide. And so if you find the toy guide on our homepage, autism-live.com, at the very top of the page is an icon that says toy guide. You go through the toy guide, you find the things that you want, and if you take your mouse and hover it over the name of the toy, it is interactive. You can click on it and it will take you directly to a place where you can purchase the toy. I'm always clear about the fact that we don't get any money for that. That is purely because you guys asked to make it easier for you, so you can get the King of Tokyo just by going to Autism Live's toy guide. But you can also search for it online, and or you can go certainly to Iello.com. Iello for those of you who are watching.
USA. Iello USA.
USA. Thank you so much. Okay, because we have some people who listen on iTunes. So IELLOUSA.com. But get this for this holiday season. You'll have a really good time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Shannon.
We really enjoy this game. Excuse me. All right, we're going to be back to close out the show. Stick with us.
Hello, fellow activists. In our last segment, we talked about step number 2, educate yourself. Step number 3 is get support. Now, any journey can feel overwhelming if you feel like you're walking it alone. Well, you're far from alone, because with 1 in 50 kids diagnosed with autism today, there are a lot of us out there. Of course, there's always the issue of financial support. Now, there's a handful of organizations out there that offer financial support to families in need. ACT Today, or Autism Care and Treatment Today, is one of them. Visit our website at www.act-today.org to find out more about our grant process. I want to talk about a different kind of support today, emotional support. Now, you can get that from other travelers on this path. Some of the best advice I've ever received is from the moms of others.
We cut Nancy off there because we have much to talk about and we have to leave. But we were just during the break, we were talking, and you had this wonderful announcement that you'd like to offer our viewers a 20% off discount coupon code. So if you want to go to IelloUSA.com, and Iello is spelled IELLO, then USA.com, when you go to checkout, when you go, there's a coupon code place that you can fill in. If you write in Autism Live, then you will get 20% off. And thank you so much. That's very generous. So again, you can only get that if you go to IelloUSA.com. That's the only place that you can get that. And then go to where it has the coupon code and put in Autism Live. Let's say it's all one word.
One word, yes.
Autism Live. Does it matter whether it's uppercase or lowercase?
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
So Autism Live in there, and buy the game, and you'll get it for 20% off. Well, that's a really lovely, generous offer. Thank you so much. Didn't the holidays just get that much sweeter?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. So there you go. All right, so we have to finish the show right now. We want to thank all of our guests who have been here with us today. What a great show. And we will be back on Monday. I'm supposed to tell you, on Monday, we will be back with Bonnie Yates, special education attorney. On Tuesday, we got an amazing show. Instead of showing you a best of, we are going to be here for a full hour with Joanne Lara and Kiki Epson. Do you know who Kiki Epson is? Her dad was Buddy Epson, who he was grandpa on the Beverly Hillbillies. But a brilliant dancer, lesser known fact that he was slated to be the Tin Man on The Wizard of Oz, but he had an allergic reaction to the silver makeup and had to bow out of it at the last minute. But a brilliant dancer and did vaudeville. So she's now a performer. She's doing a benefit next week for Autism Works Now and for Autism Movement Therapy. So she's going to be here with us in the studio. You're going to absolutely love it. That's on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we are slated, fingers crossed, to have Dr. Doreen Grandpichet back. On Thursday, we've got autism expert Elizabeth Ho is going to be with us, and we're going to do a whole bunch of games on Thursday. And on Friday, we've got Imperial Toys, which they do those massive googly balls that I love so much, and the bubbles. We are also going to be talking about some of the best functional pretend toys that you've ever seen in your life. And Mike Achera from Lux Block is going to be here with us. It's going to be off the chain next Friday. So until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.